I'd like to call this meeting of the Ad Hoc Bylaws Committee of the Del Mar College District to order at 4:30 p.m. on June 17th. Let me check for a quorum. Dr. Turner?
Here.
Susan Regent Hutchinson joining us remotely.
Yes.
And I'm Libby Averett, and we do have a quorum of the committee. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you all will join me now in reading the Del Mar College Vision Statement. Del Mar College will be the premier choice for life-changing educational opportunities provided by responsive, innovative faculty and staff who empower students to improve local and global communities. Thank you. Del Mar College is streaming live audio and video from the official Ad Hoc Bylaws Committee meeting on the college's website in real time, with the exception of portions of the meeting considered as closed session by statute. The public has had the opportunity to provide public comments via the phone. I'm told that there is no public comment today. Thank you very much. And we are continuing our action. First, we do have approval of our minutes from the June 3rd meeting. Regent Hutchinson, I'm not sure if you had time to review the minutes. Can you tell me if you did and if you're comfortable with the approval of the minutes, or whether you'd rather us hold off on those?
I have not had a chance to look at those.
Okay.
If you all have and are happy with them, that's okay with me. Or if you want to just wait till the next meeting to approve, that's okay too.
We couldn't approve.
We can. You're comfortable with
Yes.
that? Okay. I will entertain a motion then to, I'm sorry.
Corrections that I'd like to offer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Rivera has two corrections to the
Ms.
minutes.
There was, I don't have them in front of me. One of them is a reference to Regent Turner as Regent Taylor. Sorry about that.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I
Call me
apologize.
whatever you want.
And there was one that had,
Do you want to see them?
yeah, thanks.
It's a
So on
title.
page 1, Dr. Villarreal's title is Executive Director of Governmental and Board Relations. And
You need
then-
to turn on your mic or use your mic.
Sorry, I'm not used to that. On the minutes, on page 1, Dr. Villarreal's title is Executive Director of Governmental and Board Relations, and on page 2, page 1, beginning on page 1, lines 18 through 37, the first line reads Regent Taylor instead of Regent Turner. So apologize for
All
that.
right.
That's okay. With those corrections in mind, is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 3rd?
Yes, I'm motion to approve.
Is there a second? I suppose I can second. Can I second? I'll second that. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you all. Okay, we will continue where we left off at our last meeting. For your recollection, we did not get to finish going through the Weaver recommendations. And so I believe we stopped on page 5. That's
Yes,
what I
think
had
we're on-
noticed.
I believe we're on page 6.
And yeah, I think you're right. And
But I didn't see anything that we haven't already discussed.
I had a few questions, but let's look at page 6 of the Weaver recommendations. And
I'm not seeing page numbers. I'm looking at this online or
they're tiny.
digitally.
Oh, it would be number 9.
Yes.
Number 9 on the draft. Goes number 9, policy board members, cybersecurity training.
And I didn't
I'm
specifically.
looking, sorry.
No, that's okay. Susan, take your time.
Now, on the draft of the bylaws, did we add in the specific trainings, or did we just put trainings?
It's just trainings for now.
Okay, so
And for now, let's just stick to this right now, sort of in a big picture way, and then we'll go into the bylaws in more detail.
yeah, I just wasn't sure because this outlined, that training. So if we needed to discuss it or not.
Right. Susan, are you, do you feel like you're in the right section?
Am I with you or not? I'm not sure. I'm still not sure I am. I just want to make sure. I'm looking at the Del Mar College Policy Project, right? Propose, or is that not the right? That's what Natalie just emailed to me.
The proposed policy revisions and recommendations.
Yes. 5, 6.
Well,
This is
No.
under, excuse me, this is under the board.
I don't think I've got the right document.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, Susan. It's not your fault. This specifically is the title of it is Del Mar College Internal Audit Advisory Policy Project Proposed Policy Revisions and Recommendations, February 2021, for the board policies specifically. Okay,
I don't think that's what I have.
right. It is not what you have.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I'm looking. Is Natalie able to send those to the correct document to me?
They're looking in the best interest of time, though, because I do know
Yes,
that
please.
that I do know that you have an electronic copy of the proposed bylaws in front of you. Is that correct, Susan?
Clicking to get back to there to make sure that I do. Yes, I do. Look at that. Yes.
Okay. Why don't we start discussing this, and then at some
Get back to
point,
Weaver.
yeah, we will get back to Weaver. I will say, and I think Dr. Turner's correct, in looking at what we have not gone over with Weaver, I think we have touched base in our discussions with a lot of the questions that I had there. So that may not require much time for us to go over, and frankly, we may be able to do that on our own time and then get with Mr. Rivera if we think that there's anything that he has not captured in the proposed bylaws.
Yes, and I will say I have gone through that. I did have my hard copy. I just don't have it with me.
Great.
So I've gone through that, and I do not recall anything in particular that I was concerned about that I can't pass on to Mr. Rivera.
Great. Let's do that then, committee members. Go back through the Weaver document again at your convenience. Let Mr. Rivera know if there's something that you don't think has been captured in our discussions. I think that will be a good use of our time then. Thank you. And so in looking at the proposed bylaws that were sent to us last night, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Rivera to start taking us through this. We're not in any rush with these, while we do know that our end goal is to try to have a recommendation to the entire board by the August meeting. I don't want us to feel rushed or hurried too much, but we may try to schedule a few additional meetings in the end of June and July in order to get this done. At the same time, please don't hesitate to go ahead and discuss things, talk about things, because I want to make sure that we've given this some thorough consideration. With that, obviously we can see that Mr. Rivera has, at our direction, added a preamble to our bylaws. So let's start with that. Mr. Rivera, if you want to talk a little bit about your approach to that, please.
Committee members, what you have in red, obviously, are the additions or the modifications to the current bylaws that govern the board. It is still obviously in draft form. It's not in polished form, but what we were trying to do was capture your comments and input from your previous meetings, as well as integrate information from different sources. So, what you see here reflects additions from other bylaws, and as well as some from the Weaver edits, and then some that's been freshly developed. So trust me that before it's all said and done, it will be polished and read more uniformly throughout. So for now, as a draft, what I was hoping to do was get input from you and some direction. Is this the right way? Are we going in the right direction with this? And how do you feel about the language? And then take that input and get you a next draft. So that's setting it up. So it's my attempt at an opening statement, if you will, or a preamble. But happy to hear your thoughts about it.
And I know you didn't give me the copy, but online when I was looking through it, I mean, you had everything. A was this. I mean, you had the agenda. You had everything outlined. You also had the definitions were in there as point A, and then we have point B. So I really liked how that was set up, and you had an introduction and so forth. So I thought that was really important things that we had discussed, having that up front.
Let's dig into the preamble itself a little bit, if that's okay, Mr. Rivera.
Sure.
And I'm going to read this preamble, since obviously everybody who may be listening to this or seeing us can't see it as we discuss it. The following, and also because sometimes when you read things out loud,
Absolutely.
right, you can understand them a little bit differently, correct?
Sure.
It reads, the following bylaws of the Board of Regents of the Del Mar College District provide the operational framework within which the board shall govern and act, as well as the aspirational and legal standards by which each board member shall conduct themselves in the performance of their duties and in representing Del Mar College. Importantly, these bylaws include expectations of ethical behavior that are more than what is required by law. However, the Board of Regents acknowledges the profound importance of leading by example and, with these bylaws, endeavors to cultivate a culture of ethics at Del Mar College.
So you have the word acknowledge the profound importance, because I have understand. Is that different?
It is. Let me let you look at this one.
Yeah. Sorry, I already started writing on this, so we're fine. You can keep it.
Go ahead and keep it and then just compare. 'Cause maybe it's a prior version.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I would, the editor and me did a couple of little things here. Sorry. I don't think leading by example needs to be in quotations.
Okay.
I think it's,
I agree.
yeah,
I
I think
agree.
it's fine just to say leading by
Just say it,
example.
Okay.
I also am not sure why that sentence, the last sentence, starts with however. And why we can't just, while we understand that these expectations are more than what is required by law.
I agree. I would almost continue that sentence and say and, because I think those last two sentences say very, very similar things, however suggest contradictory.
Right.
Okay.
Although let's not make that sentence way too long.
Got it.
I would just take out however and just put a capital T and just have a new sentence. The Board of Regents acknowledges the profound importance of leading by example, and I don't think you need to have a comma. I think.
Well, I wonder too if in that last phrase then, because I understand the however is to acknowledge the difference between what is required by law and the
Morality.
increased, the increased ethics that we're going to hold ourselves to. And so I wonder if it would make sense to say at the end, with these bylaws, endeavors to cultivate a robust culture of ethics, or is there a better word than robust? A first class, world class, whatever the correct adjective may be.
Premier, maybe premier or
Premier's good.
Exemplary?
Exemplary, I'm fine with.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Exemplary's great. The other little question I had was why the word ethics was capitalized there.
To punctuate it, but we can lowercase it. You're the editor, you're the professional, I'm just a lawyer. Lawyers get paid for the quantity of words sometimes, but do you think it stands out, doesn't need to be?
Well, it's not grammatically correct.
Yeah, okay.
Unless we want to create something called a culture of ethics, where we would also capitalize the
The
C
C.
in culture. But I think I would lowercase it.
Okay.
I do think the language captures, though, in a general sense, what we've been talking about for the last several meetings.
I prefer to capitalize the C
You do?
because this is really about ethics. This is about morality and integrity, all the things. I mean, it does stand out. I mean, I personally would capitalize it because it's a standalone. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know.
I don't think that's enough for, I guess I would capitalize it unless it's a term of art that we've defined somewhere in the document.
Gotcha. I don't. Does it matter? How
I don't
how
feel
will people
strongly about it one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think that I think it's probably better lowercase.
Okay.
I mean, I think I agree that it should be consistent one way or the other, but I'm persuaded that it draws attention to it and suggests a significance to it that, I mean, culture of ethics should be,
An exemplary culture
Yeah,
of ethics,
exactly.
right. I think adding that adjective. Go ahead.
Could I mess with it a little bit more? I really like the exemplary. Is it an exemplary culture or is it a culture of exemplary ethics?
Much
That's what it
better.
is.
Thank you,
There you
Susan.
go.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
I liked the word. I think it just wasn't quite in the right place.
Yes, thank you. Good point. Okay, other thoughts about this before we move on? And this is not your last time to offer, you don't have to speak now or
Exactly.
forever hold your peace.
Exactly. Let it sit. I mean,
Yes.
and this is, I mean, I think you all identified the need to do this, to have something, to set it up. And so think about it. I mean, point well taken.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to board duties and responsibilities. The next red is just the word vision under number A4, which I think is fine. Under 7, talked about the periodic review of the vision and mission statements, which is good, something we mentioned. Number 8, shall establish the college's strategic plan
Yeah, thank
and
you.
goals. Yep. Also added and the vision of the college. I think that's all good. That was all real just cleanup of what
Right,
our
that's right.
practice already was. If we move on to letter E and F, we got some question marks there, Mr. Rivera.
And I guess if Ms. McDonald's here in the room, Regent Hutchinson, she's obviously part of the support under the committee charter and will be helping with once this is done, with making sure that the policies are consistent and, but I don't know. It has under your bylaws that you shall establish general admissions policies upon the recommendation of administration, and then that you're responsible for deciding the size and makeup of the student body.
And I think when we initially read that, we questioned, we weren't aware that that was part of our responsibility. Do you have a microphone, Ms. McDonald? Thank you. Just for the purposes of the recording, thank you.
Well, I know all the other colleges also have it in theirs. That's general standard.
I think that's something we are going to have to go back and look, because we have had some changes for some of our accreditation requirements and guidelines. We want to make sure that it doesn't infringe upon those guidelines. So I have a note next to it, as I was reviewing it this morning, to make sure I go back and check
Great.
with that particular staff to make
Okay.
sure that it does not infringe upon that with a lot of the changes you've had in the last several years. So I will take care of double checking that.
That's
for you.
fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
My thought about the origin of it is that it was something that was taken from statute. I mean, you may very well be legally required to do that.
Sure.
But that doesn't necessarily have to be in your bylaws, and it just seemed a little odd. It seemed odd to have it in there. So
Okay.
that's why I put the question.
Well, thank you, and
Yeah.
thank you, Ms. McDonald, for looking into that for us. G, just added, and the Texas Education Code section.
Right.
That's fine, thank you. Okay, and here's where we get into some training, Dr. Turner, that you mentioned before. We've added a few letters here. We have added letter J, new regent shall undergo training and onboarding as soon as practicable after taking office, including the training and onboarding required by law and the orientation provided by the college. See below section 16, which gave a lot more detail, so thank you for that. Letter K, while serving in office.
Can I make one
Please.
comment about
I'm sorry,
Jay?
Susan, sure.
The only thing is, very little, but I think I would take out the word new before regents. I'm not sure what it adds. It confuses me a little bit. Is it people who haven't been a regent before, but I think it's covered if we just say regents
right.
will undergo the training as practicable after taking office.
You're correct. That's great, thank you.
Just every now and then I have to take out some words since I
No, that's
usually put
good.
in words.
We'd like to keep it simple if possible.
There you go.
Okay, the new letter K, while serving in office, board members shall not accept employment, including self-employment, or engage in a business, charity, nonprofit organization, or professional activity that conflicts with or could reasonably be expected to impair the board member's independence of judgment in the performance of official duties. I'm okay with this.
I like that.
Okay. Good. And then, Mr. Rivera, I see you've moved the statement of conduct and ethics up, which is nice.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you ought to ask for that,
yes.
and so
Yes.
there it is.
Yeah, that's great. I think that certainly places some emphasis on
Yes.
that and importance, right? Okay. The introductory paragraph there, we've strengthened the word a little bit. I think that's, the language a little bit. I think that's great. Each member of the board will commit to at all times. Wait, okay, so we've got to commit to conduct themselves in accordance with the highest ethical principles. Each member of the board shall commit to at all times.
Oh, I see.
I think maybe we've got a split infinitive.
Yeah.
Maybe at all times goes after conduct.
Or each member of the board will at all times conduct themselves. I don't mean
Right.
think you need commit to. I
That's-
think it's just an additive.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Good.
Yep. Fewer words, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And shall strive to support the mission and the vision statement of the college. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the new section D, or the enhanced section D. And I will read it so we can hear it out loud. Render all decisions based on the available facts and independent judgment, free from any undue or improper influence, and abide by and uphold the final majority decision of the board. During a pending bidding, solicitation, selection, or appointment process, regents shall avoid any communications with involved vendors, contractors, bidders, or applicants outside of the board established process.
So would that also include an applicant as a board regent, and when they call you and would like some information about the process or something about just we don't talk to them. Does that include that?
Yeah,
A
I think it does.
perspective.
I mean, it does in my interpretation of it. And I mean,
And that would include even, so if anybody, even when the chair was contacted by two people committing on the process, because she did have contact with, you know, with one of the applicants outside of board duties, just say, talk to you about, just have you handle all of that.
now, it does say outside of the board established process. So we as a board, for example, could say, if we get calls from interested applicants for an appointed position, that we refer them to Mr. Rivera.
How about
the
a job
chair.
applicant, like a friend is applying for a
Yeah,
job?
we shouldn't. Yeah, those already I think should be referred to.
Okay.
So,
So
I
we
took
might
that-
want to word that or add that.
I took what I heard, but I mean, there could be a case where someone wants to visit with one of you just to know what the job entails. You know, and I can answer, but I'm not a regent, and you know, so. Do you
So
wanna-
we'll just have to be very careful on that fine line.
I'm throwing that out as a possible. You know, do you want to make an exception for that, or build something in?
Well, I think what I'd like to hear, Dr. Turner, from you and Regent Hutchinson is how you personally feel about this restriction, which basically says if we have an appointment to a vacant regent position, that we are not allowed to speak to applicants. Doesn't mean we hang up on them, but it means we refer them to the appropriate process as opposed to having a conversation with them. My personal feeling is I'm fine with that, but I suspect there will be some conversation about that. Susan?
Yes, my concern would be, in my experience, I will have someone who is applying to be a regent and will talk to me about what's the time commitment. And I don't think that's going to get a different answer, perhaps, or a different slant than the chair would be. I don't know that it's an inside information, and it's not. I'm just not sure how that would disrupt the process. If somebody said, you know, I'm really considering applying, or I have applied, but I'm concerned about my involvement in this other organization, or you know, what is your view of that? You've been on the board this many years. That's my only concern.
What do you think, Dr. Turner? You know, we could address that, though, as the board established process, meaning we as a board could say that we're okay with answering questions that are basic about our duties, however, well,
I mean, you have
I'm
the
talking
word-
myself
you have
out
the
of it.
word process. You have the word process in here, but I guess, what does that mean? I mean, from the time they're putting in the application, prior to the application, before the interview, post-interview, I mean, it's, so, I mean, I don't really have an issue with it. I mean,
So if you back up, so I would ordinarily be able to say, you don't have to worry about this too much because you
No.
don't
No.
frequently have to appoint someone.
no.
You know,
I-
but I'm not going to say that.
But you also have free from undue and improper influence. So I think that stands, that's all, I think it's there.
So if you focus on the ethical concern here, it is that, you know, somehow in conversation, something happens where an applicant, because unlike Susan, Regent Hutchinson, unlike a situation where somebody is running for the position and before making that decision to run, that they're free to talk to you at that point and ask you what
I
your
guess
job
this-
duties are and all of that. The problem here is that you're the ones making the decision.
Yes, and this might be one of those pro quo quos issues, situations, right? And you just want to avoid that. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with this statement. I think maybe we should bring it to the board and when we discuss it.
Let me, just for purposes of this discussion, separate this real quick. Do any of us have a problem with this language when it comes to vendors, contractors, or bidders?
No,
I do not have a
Okay.
problem.
it's
Okay,
just the applicant.
right. I didn't think any, so, Ms. Rivera,
Yeah.
we're on board with the vendors, contractors, and bidders. It's
It's the applicants for the
applicants-
region appointment.
for regent appointments specifically.
And I just don't want a regent to get in trouble for maybe, if he did answer his phone and talk to that gentleman, I don't think she answered a couple of questions, Scott did. And he also a couple of them contacted other people on the board, and I just don't want anyone getting into trouble saying, oh, you know what I mean? I just don't want any secrecy or any, or I don't know. Can we just
Let's think about this one, okay? Let's think
I
about
agree.
this one, yep. And I think it's pretty clear, we're talking about applicants. We're not talking about potential applicants. We're talking about once they have filed their application, that we probably should not be having conversations with them. And I would agree with that. I don't
yes.
think there's a problem with us talking to potential applicants who, like Susan said,
Oh, can we
I think
use
that's
the
a good
word?
distinction.
well,
Can
it
we
says
use,
applicants.
yeah,
Yeah.
but why don't we put something about potential applicants or I don't know.
No, but we want this to apply to applicants and not potential applicants. So as Susan's example, then if somebody says, well, how much time does it take? I would assume they hadn't applied yet if they're still contemplating that.
Regent Hutchinson, does that make sense?
I agree. I guess I'm trying to make sure I understand what we're trying to avoid. And it's pretty easy with, I guess the first thing you think of is you don't want any chance there be any kind of a quid pro quo between somebody before a decision like that's made. I guess that's the main thing. And I don't know how to carve that out without avoiding all of those conversations at all. Yeah, I'm not terribly troubled by this, but I'm still scratching my head a little bit.
Okay.
Is there a way that we can separate the applicants and have move it to add an E and have one that focuses on the bidders, contractors, and vendors, and have another one that is kind of focused on the applicants? I don't know, because
Well, I mean, they're lumped together because these are the
Yeah.
decisions that we have control over, where we don't want any interruption or any undue influence for the process.
I'm coming to like this more and more. I think the board established process, you're right, Libby, sort of gives us a chance to, at the first of the application process, we may say, okay, here, our established process may include conversations limited to these topics or something. I don't know that we would do that, but
Right.
if we needed some exceptions, we could establish that at the beginning of the process.
Right. And my hope would be that the conversations that we've talked about in the past have happened hopefully before people have formally applied, but that may not always be the
that
case.
might not be.
Right.
Because
Right.
I just thought if he just put render all decisions based on the available facts and independent judgment, free from any undue and improper influence concerning applicants during the appointment process. I don't know.
Yeah, so
mean?
I think maybe we do move on and continue to think about this one,
Alright.
okay? Let
That
it
works.
sit a little bit, since clearly there's some discussion about it. Okay, thank you all. Let's move on to, we're still in section 2, but letter J, we just added including all deliberations of the board or a committee in closed session, making sure we respect the confidentiality of committee closed sessions as well. Thank you for adding that. Letter L, avoid real or apparent conflicts of interests, as well as refrain from engaging in any activity that could create a conflict of interest.
I like that.
I'm fine with this. I understand that the enhanced language is the apparent conflicts of interest and not just real conflicts of interest.
So to be clear, this is this is an example of a higher standard of
Yes.
conduct than what is required under law.
I'm fine with that.
I like this. I think the wording could be a little smoother if it read avoid real or apparent conflicts of interest and refrain from engaging in any activity that would create a conflict of interest.
Agree.
Just instead of as well as, okay,
Yes.
just and. Okay with that?
Every once in a while, it sounds like a lawyer wrote this.
And a lawyer editing.
That's okay. Okay.
For the record, I would always defer to Regent Hudson on any matter of writing. She's a very, very good writer,
She is.
despite the fact that
She
she's a
is.
lawyer.
Yeah, she is.
There's your mistake.
Okay, section Q, thank you. That's just a cleanup of adding the actual citation. A new letter R, board members are prohibited from suggesting or recommending subcontractors to vendors at any time, regardless of when the communication occurs. I'm fine with that. My question is, why do we need the regardless of when the communication occurs? Is that
Is that important?
We've already said at any time.
Right. And this was language, again, from another document that I forget which one
Gotcha.
that we saw that
Yeah.
that you
That
all
we
had
liked.
tagged. And so, but I think that's fine, taking out regard. That frankly doesn't make sense.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So putting a period after time.
Is it subcontractors and vendors? So I was just looking at that short clause because I
No, I think
this
that's
is-
two vendors. I
Right,
think
this
it's-
specifically addresses vendors who the college has a contract with that we as regents cannot recommend who those vendors should hire.
Gotcha.
None of our
Okay.
business,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I understand that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, letter S, encourage and engage in open and honest discussion in making board decisions, to respect differences of opinion, and to keep an open mind until each regent has had an opportunity to address the board.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
We could probably remove the twos. Just
Yes.
encourage and engage,
Yes,
respect differences,
right,
and keep an
yes.
open mind.
Yes. Susan, do you have any comments on S?
No, I think that's excellent. I guess that is a comment. I think it's excellent.
Great. Letter T, you can take out in order
Okay.
and just say to avoid the tendency for influence upon performance of duties, Board of Regents shall not accept or solicit any gift, favor, or service that might tend to influence them in the performance of official duties or that might be offered with the intent to influence their official conduct. So the note that I jotted down here may be too much, but I wondered if it was appropriate to say, to add or appear to influence them. So let me start over. So it starts with, to avoid the tendency for influence upon performance of duties, Board of Regents shall not accept or solicit any gift, favor, or service that might tend to or appear to influence them in the performance of official duties or that might be offered with the intent to influence their official misconduct. Because my fear is if we leave it as just that might tend to influence them, that an out is simply, well, it doesn't influence me. And the appearance of it may seem to everybody else that, well, how could it not influence you? So it goes back to that concept of an appearance of a conflict of interest or an appearance of an impropriety.
We did talk about that.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's subjective, obviously.
But again, we're just putting it in there for standards of ethics.
I think we have to be very careful about how our actions appear.
I agree. I like that idea of avoiding appearances of impropriety.
Good.
I might suggest taking out that introductory clause, though, rather than saying in order to avoid the tendency for influence. I mean, we don't really have to say why we're saying it. It's just they shouldn't accept
Yep.
gifts that
Good.
would tend to influence them.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
good,
think it's a
Susan.
little stronger that way.
It does. Okay, thank you. Letter P, take no private action that will compromise the board or administration. What do you mean? What do we mean?
What did,
How is that different than?
Right. Or what are we trying to say here, right, that,
and it may be so general compared to the others. I mean, it's
Right.
probably covered by the other
I
specifics.
think,
Okay.
So you-
I think it
we can
is.
take
I don't
that
think
out.
we need that.
Susan, do you feel strongly about this?
I agree. It doesn't add anything.
Okay. Thank you. Letter Q, as fiduciaries of the college and subject to Texas law on the use or misuse of official college information, Regents shall maintain strict confidentiality of information, one, presented and discussed during any closed board meeting or during any board committee meeting. Two, can we say any closed board committee meeting there? Because that's
Sure.
what we mean.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Right.
Two, proprietary to the college, or three, about the college not within the public domain. Any regent's disclosure or misuse of this information may be considered official misconduct or abuse of office as defined under or by law. I think we have a typo here.
Yeah.
Do you want to say by law or under? I don't care. By law.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I believe this is actually one of the Weaver recommended provisions
Okay.
that we
Su-
can probably.
My comment,
polish it.
I like this provision very much. Does it duplicate or make it not necessary to have J? If you go back up to J, we talk about confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Right. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's stronger, so I would just eliminate
It's-
J.
Or just
I agree.
replace it. Either take it out or replace it, right?
Sure. I mean, you can move Q to J if you
Yep.
want, but yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Good catch, Susan.
Mhm.
Okay, R. I think we'll talk about this one. Upon the date a regent leaves office, a regent shall avoid for a period of 1 year, taking employment or entering into a business relationship with any vendor, contractor, company, or other individual or entity currently in a business relationship with the college.
I
And-
like it, but enforcing it.
Right.
But again, we're just setting up the standards of ethics.
So we've talked about this a bit. So Mr. Rivera, give us just a little bit of insight about how you came up with this language.
So currently, there's nothing under the law that would prohibit a regent after leaving office from taking employment with a company involved with you're in a business relationship with a college. From your prior discussions and from, I think, discussion you all had about it as a board during the board retreat last May, the question's been raised about this. So this is an attempt to put out in draft for your consideration and tweaking if you want, a language addressing what is commonly referred to as the revolving door issue. Under state law, there are provisions in the government code that prohibit state officers or employees from certain employment after leaving office. So, for example, where there's a contract that a state officer or employee participated on behalf of the agency in either the procurement or negotiation process, then once that state officer leaves office, they can't go work for someone who's got that contract. But again, those are not, I think Regent Turner is acknowledging something you've all have discussed and you've heard me say before. There's nothing that you have in terms of enforcement. And so in the end, it may just be an aspirational statement that you hope everybody subscribes to. But at the end of the day, you recognize that the reality of it is you really can't stop someone from doing it.
I'm personally okay with it being an aspirational statement because I think it does say something about what we value. I think it is a message to our vendors and potential vendors that this is the behavior that we expect of our regents and former regents, and therefore they may not choose to hire a former regent for at least a year because they know that the board doesn't approve of that. I fully understand we have no legal authority to prevent somebody from working wherever they want to work.
The other detail I would point out, Regents, is that I put in 1 year because there is a provision that prohibits you from seeking employment or being employed by the college for a year
That's
after
right.
you leave, and so it's consistent with that. But actually, the state law that I'm referring to about state officers is 2 years.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I kept it at 1 year just because that's sort of consistent with the only other rule out there. But
Well, it's
So-
the same rolling off the State Board of Educator certification is still 1 year. I mean, I can't lobby. They won't hire me. They have a 1 year too. And it's just, standard. Sitting is standard of behavior.
Susan, how do you feel about this since there are no legal teeth to it?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can, if what we're struggling with could be solved by not focusing on what a regent does after they're gone. I know this sounds weird, but instead focusing on a regent committing while they're in office, that they're committing that they will not do this in the future. You see what I mean? So part of my promise is I'm not going to take bribes. I'm not going to disclose information, and I'm going to commit that I will not, for a period of 1 year, take employment. So it's a commitment I'm making now. It's a semantical, but it seems to focus on what we're saying right now while we are regents.
That's interesting.
So on that form that we sign when we...
Well, we could work it into this language somehow, right, Susan?
Oh, make no mistake, it's still unenforceable. It's still unenforceable.
We're just asking for a
But
level of
it
commitment.
just seems to sit with me a little better if it's saying that I'm making a commitment now. I may breach it, but it's going to be unenforceable anyway. But something about saying upon leaving office, I think that just sets us into, wait a minute, none of your business after that comment. But if we are while we're serving as regents, we are committing that we will not take employment. It's a minor change, but I'm just hoping that it sits a little better. The only other way I can think to make it enforceable is by some provision that says the college will not do business with people who have hired a regent within 1 year, and
But
put it on the business.
But can you do that
I'm not sure
during
we
the
want to
bidding
go that far.
process?
Yeah,
I don't know if we can do that during the bidding process because they have, I don't know.
Well, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just,
Yeah.
I think that would be going too far. But understanding that we have this being somewhat unenforceable, I just like the idea that, I made a vow that I was not going to do this in the future. And I think that's all we can ask people to do.
So Susan, are you suggesting just some minor language change here that says a regent will commit
A regent will commit to avoid something like that,
Right.
and not saying something about after leaving office, that for a period of 1 year after leaving office, the regent will not take employment, et cetera, et cetera. Is that really splitting hairs? Have I
No,
made any
I understand.
help?
I can work with that. Let me, Regents, give me another
Sure.
shot at it,
Sure.
because I think what Regent Hutchison is suggesting puts it into context, and perhaps you just be more direct about the fact that it's not legally binding, but that as regents you think that's the ethical thing.
right.
And,
There you go.
And commit to that, which is the most you can do, right? And then
Yeah.
and so if somebody wants to go the other way, then okay, they can. But what they've done is just gone back on what they agreed to at one point as
That's right.
being ethical conduct.
Yeah, and just states what their character is.
Right.
But I just want to be. I mean, I think I hear you all, though, at least in agreement that this is concerning. That it's an issue because
Yeah, 'cause
even if there's nothing improper, the potential for the appearance of something improper.
it's the appearance of Del Mar and the board.
Okay.
Because we took a hit.
Correct. Susan, I think that's helpful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I do too.
Okay.
I'm mindful of the time. It's only 22 after. However, the next section,
You're going to do a lot of red.
right, there's a lot of red here when we start talking about conflicts of interest and prohibited benefits.
Yeah.
And I've got some questions here for sure. And I want to make sure that we have some time to talk about calendaring because, so I'm going to suggest that we stop at this point so we can talk about calendaring. Is that okay with you, Susan?
It is.
Okay, let's do that. So we will pick up with section 3 next time we are together. But I know with it being summer and various traveling that we have going on, Regent Hutchinson, I understand you are not available early next week, correct?
Did you mention Tuesday, the 22nd?
I did, yes.
No, I do not at that time.
That's fine.
And
That's
really not that day.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No problem. So
I'm available next Thursday.
You're not here, though.
I'm
right?
out of town, but I
Got it. No, let's find another time.
well, I'm actually out of town until the 28th, and then Dr. Turner is out until
I'll be,
the 2nd.
Yeah.
How about Wednesday? Did we try Wednesday? Are you gone then, Libby?
No, Dr. Turner's out.
Yeah, I'll be out for a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
and
I'll
that's
be traveling
fine.
back on the 1st, but I may not be able to get here by 4:30.
Well, let me ask you this, everybody. On the 24th, which is next Thursday, I'll be out of town. I could join remotely on the 24th.
I'm available.
Susan, are you back in town?
Yes, I will be in town that day.
And
You're
that's
okay?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about what I've already scheduled. Actually, I don't think I am available late that afternoon.
I can meet earlier on the 24th.
I mean, it would be
I
preferable.
really cannot.
Okay, let's not meet the 24th. I don't think that's going to work for me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right.
It's okay.
Well, I mean, if
So I'm back to July 8th, and I know that that's not on our calendar right now, Dr. Villarreal. We do have on our calendar July 15th already and July 29th, but I would like to add July 8th. Is that okay with everybody?
It is with me.
It is with me.
okay.
I would also like to go ahead and add July 22nd. And I know that means we meet weekly in July, but I think if we do that, we'll be sure to finish.
I like that because I will tell you that I will be hopefully able to join, but it'll be remotely on July 15th.
That's fine.
And that'll give us plenty of time to go through all our notes and compare 'em to what we already have, compare everything, and we can go back and if
Right.
we need to
Right.
and push forward. Then we'll at least have all our notes and we'll just
Right.
do what we're doing right now.
Mr. Rivera, does that work
Good.
for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss McDonald, I know we gave you a little homework too. Is that okay with you? Okay. Okay. Any other business to discuss before we close?
And we're meeting one time in August, right? Before the August meeting?
We have it on the calendar right now. We'll see if that's still necessary as we progress in July.
All right, that's fine. I have it.
Susan, do you have anything else for us to consider?
I do not.
Dr. Turner?
I'm fine, thank you.
Mr. Rivera?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
All good.
Then
Good
I
work.
will adjourn this meeting at 5:27 p.m. and we will see you all again on July 8th. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.